Welcome to the Blackboard. Today is part 2 of the series Going Flat, and part 1 can be found in the card section. This should pop up any moment. Alright, so let's recap what was in the part 1. Why Flat Earth makes sense is because NASA doesn't. NASA is a protector of the globe, and it is incentivized to protect it. Because it has an incentive to do so, it is already a false flag, or a red flag, to explore. We have to question this authority, and it happened. People outside of it asked the question, well, is Earth flat or not? Because we sent balloons, well, it doesn't look round, and because of our ability to explore heights with the balloons, we have the technology and all that, we start to ask questions. And it so happened that one authority just has to go away. Now the argument is, well, let's listen to this guy. This guy is known for debunking the flat earth. Unsuccessfully though, so I will debunk his opinion once again.
Lied, and there are X dome, hundreds of thousands of space exploration employees around the world working for all the different countries, and they're all in on this conspiracy to essentially lie to you and make you think that the Earth is a bouncy ball.
So his argument is probably the most compelling one, is how that many people working for NASA, how nobody's coming out and saying the truth. First of all, we have to understand, and yes, there are more agencies than NASA, but we have to understand that space exploration is kind of a monopoly, and there's no competing agencies to actually, or I would say authorities, because they all in for some kind of truth. They're all in controlling something, and NASA happens to control a lot within from the government money. So we have to understand the three sections within: people who don't know the truth, people who know the truth but are afraid to say, and people who are controlling the whole authority of NASA. So the question is, how do we get the second section to come out? And maybe you saw Matrix, where Neo is trapped in an office and he wants to get out. There are two ways to do it. He either goes through all this pressure, has to go through the authority, because authority will not let him go easily. No matter what happens, they will monitor and will catch him being absent. The other way is the quick way, right? Just jumping off the building or something like that Neo was trying to go for. But he was too afraid to do so. There is no easy landing for him, so he didn't do it. But we can provide the easy landing for other people. What happened once within NASA, one employee got out, and well, you probably know him. He told a story about him being in an airplane, and other NASA employees would tell him, well, the Earth is flat, and wanted to see his reaction, but it so happened that he came out and told the truth, because he wasn't really deep within NASA. He didn't know, he wasn't really controlled that much, and he was dependent on this organization. So he was able to get out as an artist. Well, he knew how to do it. But now we have people who are kind of deeper into the section, who are not being told immediately, right? That guy was lucky to get told immediately about the flat earth, to be able to question the authority. But other people have went a little too deep and will have a hard time finding the way out. So I think the Kickstarter is the best way to do it. We give exposure and we give the funding to get a safe landing where a person can actually rely on us protecting him and giving him the ability to express himself without any concern. So, but what has to happen is he has to claim the identity of himself. He has to show himself, right? In order to be, he has to expose himself basically. He has to take in the exposure that we provide through a Kickstarter or whatever means possible. But I think it's a very important step to make, and I will explore that in other videos. Now, moving on, the YouTube is kind of like the space for Flat Earth movement to take place. And one person has claimed to, be the foundation of this authority that was created. And I fully agree with that, because, well, if you claim, then I will believe in that until I'll be able to question that. So that person is Eric Dupé, right? He has claimed that he has started the movement, and he's able to understand all these awesome aspects, and is thinking that, well, yeah, that is the key point. If we expose this, we expose almost everything else by understanding how to deal with this issue of not having enough authorities competing with each other and taking each other down. Like, we are establishing a new community to take down NASA, which doesn't provide any value because space doesn't exist. But they have an incentive to lie because, well, if they expose the truth, they don't exist either. Alright. So we have the YouTube as a platform to do that, and YouTube also has the same problem. The problem is that every single person is treated equally. Okay, so the problem is a little bit different, I guess, if you look at it that way. But a noob is the same as a veteran in Flat Earth topic, let's say. And topics are not also split. You cannot just tag a topic and become visible. You actually have to write down on your title of the video Flat Earth. If you don't do that, well, your video is not gonna get listed, I believe. If you just put a tag, it doesn't actually mean anything, from my research, at least. So, we have to look at the promotion of how videos are getting promoted, and there's a clear problem that both of these people, person who spent time researching and person who just came in as a noob, who is incentivized to stick with the truth that he knows, because, well, if you're exposed to not know about something, that feels bad, right? You just want to kind of protect your own truth and rather go from the opposing side first when the new truth is introduced. So he's gonna dislike a video, and it will have the same impact as a person who already has took time, studied research, and is able to more accurately rate the video. While ups and downs are also kind of a redundancy. We had stars before, but stars is also pretty bad. So this aspect of YouTube is also going to be explored in other videos, but we will see that is also a problem. And I started this whole notion of like, oh my god, this is going to be the best transition ever if we just understand how broken YouTube is, but now it seems that Flat Earth is much bigger movement than the movement that was called Make YouTube Great Again, or in another one was Where's the Fair Use, right? The copyright. The copyright of YouTube is really broken, and copyrighted material is not something to deal with at the moment. It's cancerous. Copyright claims are cancerous as hell, and it's because you don't want to create the authority. You don't want to let people copy themselves as the authority. So whoever claims an original content is the ultimate authority. Like, oh, the government is the ultimate authority because the government claimed originality. The country, right? We already kind of established the country's borders, and nobody's kind of want to split that a little differently, but that's what will have to happen. There's going to be more and more and more splits until we actually find that every single individual is its own government. Now, talking about individuality, I want to introduce myself because, well, I found myself to be important within this movement, and I will try to become the figure that will help other people find their individuality, because that's essentially what is the most important part. Why there's this transition going on, I would call, where you actually start claiming authority and you understand that the authority simply means control, and control means responsibility and power, and that means also growing up and becoming an individual. As I said, every single government is just could be represented just by one individual, by president, so why everyone can't be a president? Anyways, so I took this word a long time ago, guru, and I actually translated it to find something weird. It meant spiritual teacher, while the name itself I attached to some imaginary figure that I attached myself into. Just basically, through the creation process, I found something very weird. That guru means spiritual teacher, and that is actually the greatest expression of me as a concept, right? As an individual. You would think I'm a programmer that makes games, because that's the best way to express myself, through the best expression of art, right? That's what programming is creating virtual realities, becoming a god of something. So a god is the ultimate individual, right? A god is a creator. A creator is what you must become in order to claim individuality. Now, to understand the word spiritual teacher, you have to understand what is spirit. And that is fascinating in and of itself, because you start questioning where is the memory stored? Where is your individuality stored? Where is your consciousness? You cannot find it in the brain. All the brain does is just recalls the memory. It takes the memory out of somewhere. If we find that place, well, we're probably not going to find it in reality, because essentially what spirit has a role of protecting itself, of not being in reality. Because if a body is killed by any other means, if someone else's don't like you as an individual, they can just fucking kill you, right? But somehow, in some way, the individual should be preserved, and I think spirit is the means to do so. We still have to have life and death, but we still have to have something that is permanently stores information, that doesn't lose value, right? We think of science like this. Right now, science actually inhabits the form of everything is random. Like, space is so infinite that, yes, we just happen to happen. But once we limit that view by eliminating space, we suddenly understand that we are between random and what we think is creation by God. What my view is that God is just a creator. He lets his program run randomly, but he still initiated the whole process in some particular manner that, could be explored, could be interesting. So what is the spiritual teacher? What does that mean as a concept? Because you put two words together, you suddenly get a different concept. Globe Earth or flat Earth? Well, totally different concepts. Anyways, so teacher means that, well, you take something and you teach within that subject. So spiritual teacher means that that individual is trying to figure out what kind of spirit he's dealing with and where the spirit has to go. So find a direction for that spirit or a purpose to expand into somewhere, to have a purpose within reality, and so on. So a teacher should be able to learn about everything, or must learn about everything in order to find that spirit, right? In order to find the spirit, you have to understand every single person, how he behaves. So I actually have to learn about everything, and that's what I did most of the time. Programming simply means that in order to create virtual reality, you actually have to learn about reality and all the basics of reality. So basically that's how I ended up being a programmer. I just like creating stuff. And now I understand that this is my identity. I'm able to identify within my circle of the basic information, the basic consciousness. I'm able to identify people, and I am also able to identify their direction and lead a little bit closer to the edge. And then again, the role of the teacher is to be beaten up at some point. At some point you're just gonna surpass the teacher, because the teacher claimed the role to push other people forward, not himself. That's the thing. Alright, so that's basically what I figure out to be. And I tried to kind of, we all have this problem of how to survive. We have to get the monies. And what led me into the survival state, well, is the most basic thing you can do, is the factory work. But I would also try to look for work within the programming sphere, to find that there are a lot of people that make false impressions of themselves in order to get the scam going, right? In order to get a good work position, all you need to do is make a good first impression. The bad thing about this, that this looks like a fucking Slender Man. And now we understand why we fear Slender Man. We fear to become faceless people. We fear to become corrupted by an authority. We fear to become, because we become what we do. We create things and we become those things. So it's very important to which community you belong. And I think Flat Earth community is probably the best one you can ever get to at this point in time. This is it, right? This is the best community you can find. I'm not yet in it, but I will try to become this individual that will help people find their spirit and get the fucking work done. Expose this fucking shit, Oh man. So what happens, government steals individuals. Government gives jobs and limits them in those jobs, but they cannot fully express themselves. They cannot be free and freely create things, freely work the way they want, be passionate about things. And that has to change. This is the transition of becoming individual and questioning the authority and becoming the authority. Horrible thing happens when you have certain authorities rise up to just fill in the void. So yeah, you probably know the word ISIS. It's quite a community now, and I've seen a video of ISIS recruitment tactics. It's a conspiracy channel. I will link it into the corner. So it's horrible what can happen sometimes. To fill in the void of becoming an individual, you get into these corrupted entities and kind of like do horrible things. I mean, what do you expect? So we have to promote this community, because if we truly think this is the best thing, we have to push with brute force, take over the fucking YouTube, and put our effort as much as possible to show that we care about this. Now you can expect me to do more videos than that, but probably not gonna tag Flat Earth, because, well, I still want to remain in the shadows in the ground zero. If you're gonna dig me up, I'm gonna do my work as much as possible. But, you can contact me with the spiritual teaching stuff, and you can help me with that to replace this shit. It takes a lot of my time. And although thanks for watching already, you've made a big contribution, and I hope you're gonna stick with that. See you guys next time.